A brand new pickup off the lot today will sticker for $80,000. You want to know where a whole lot of them are parked right this minute? In a service bay, dead. Collecting dust and waiting on a software update. The touchscreen quit speaking to the gearbox, or the cylinder shutoff system tripped a code at 40-odd thousand miles, or the cruise radar caught a little road grime, and now the truck is dead certain there is a wall in the road out on an empty highway. $80,000, sitting in a shop, over a sensor the size of a bottle cap. Here is what 34 years around these things beat into me. Reliability was never about complexity. It never has been, not once. The toughest trucks this country ever turned out were not the fanciest ones, they were the most honest ones. Simple engines, straight frames, and systems. A fellow with a floor jack, a socket set, and a parts counter one town over could sort out on a Saturday and go right on sorting out for 30 years after that. So today, let's go dig up those trucks. 5 pickups you buy a single time and drive the rest of your days. We run them down from 5 up to 1. And I will bet you this. By the time we get to the top of the list, that $80,000 window sticker is going to look a whole lot different to you than it did this morning. I am Frank. 34 years building trucks at GM in Flint, worked my way up to Master Tech, and I have had every one of these 5 up on my own lift. These are the trucks I would still spend my own hard-earned money on. Let's get into it. Number 5. The Chevy and GMC square body. The CK trucks they turned out from 1973 all the way through 1987. That is 15 straight years of the same honest truck, the longest run GM ever gave a pickup. And I am starting you off right here on purpose, because for a whole lot of you watching me, this is the truck you were young with. It was your first one, or it sat in your dad's driveway, and it is where you learned to work a clutch. Here is why it earns its spot. There is not a computer anywhere on the carbureted ones. Not a single one. You have got points or an HEI distributor, a mechanical fuel pump, and either a small block or one of those stone simple inline 6s, the 250 or the 292, and underneath a frame you could just about stand on and jump. That 350 small block will roll right past 200,000 miles on nothing fancier than clean oil, fresh coolant, and a tune-up once in a while. The 6s are simpler yet. And because GM built millions of these, and shared half the parts with the Blazer and the Jimmy and the Suburban, there is next to nothing on this truck. A shade tree mechanic cannot chase down and fix in his own driveway with a socket set and a Saturday. Now I will hand you the honest catch, and it is a big one. The drivetrain is not what kills these trucks. Rust is. Up here in the salt country, the cab corners and the rockers and the bed and the frame will rot clean out from under a perfectly good running engine. So if you go looking for one, find a body that spent its life down south or out west where they do not salt the roads, and get up underneath it with a flashlight before you hand over a nickel. And do yourself one more favor. Stay clear of the 6.2 diesel they offered in some of these. That one had a habit of cracking blocks, and it is the one weak link in the whole lineup. Stick to a gas 350 or one of the 6s, put it on a solid body, and this truck will flat outlast you. That is where we start. Number 4. The Ford Ranger, the ones they built from 1998 through 2011, 13 straight years, and honestly, they could have run it another 13 and nobody would have hollered. Some of you are already grinning because you know exactly where I am headed. This is the most beautifully dull truck Ford ever sold, and I mean that as the highest compliment I have got in me. Somebody engineered this little truck around a single rule. Do not bolt one thing onto it that does not need to be there. No air suspension. No trick timing gadgets. No all-wheel drive computer with 17 buttons for mud and sand and snow. It is a motor, a gearbox, 4 corners, and a box out back. That is the whole truck. Talk to any farmer who ran one. He parks it behind the barn come October, forgets it exists all winter, digs the keys out of a coffee can in April, and it turns over and catches like it had been driven the day before. Cold or hot, sea level or up a mountain, the thing just runs. And when something finally does wear out, a Ranger in the salvage yard is basically a free supply store because the parts are dirt cheap and they are on every shelf in the country. But listen close now, because this is where I earn my keep. Do not just run out and grab any old Ranger. You want the 2.3 or the 2.5 four-cylinder, or the older 4-liter 6, the overhead valve one they ran from 98 through 2000. The newer 4-liter, the single overhead cam motor they dropped in from 2001 on, has a timing chain setup buried in the back of the engine that likes to let go, and getting at it means yanking the whole motor out of the truck. So shop the engine, not the badge on the tailgate. Pick the right one, and this little Ford will run damn near forever on almost nothing. Number 3, and now we are stepping into legend. The Ford diesels, the F250 and the F350, from 1988 through the middle of 1994, with the 7.3i DI diesel bolted under the hood. Now pay attention here, because this is the exact spot people get it wrong. This is not the 7.3 Power Stroke. Same size on paper, a completely different animal underneath. The Power Stroke that showed up a little later runs off a computer. This one, the IDI, is all mechanical, cover to cover. International built it, the heavy truck engine people, and Ford had the good sense to bolt it in and leave it alone. There is a mechanical Stanodyne pump deciding how the fuel goes in, mechanical injectors doing the spraying, and not one computer chip anywhere that has to fire for this engine to run. No diesel fluid to keep pouring in, no particulate filter clogging itself solid, no emissions brain throwing you a check engine light in some county 300 miles from the nearest dealer. You pour clean diesel in it, you change the oil, and you drive it. Simple as a hammer. And it pulls the same trick as an engine coming up here in a minute, a camshaft turned by gears, so there is no belt and no chain in there to ever snap on you. I will be straight about the catch, because there always is one. It is slow. The plain version makes right around 180 horsepower, so you are not winning any races off a stoplight, and to be honest with you, that lazy, easy pace is half the reason the thing lasts as long as it does. It never works hard. You want a good set of glow plugs for a cold Michigan morning, and the low-sulfur diesel they sell today is a little hard on that old pump, so run a fuel additive and keep clean filters in it. Do that much, and this is one of the last truly honest diesels anybody ever put in front of a driver. Real quick, before I hand you the top 2, if a straight answer from a fella with no truck to sell you is worth a couple minutes of your day, do me a favor and tap that subscribe button. That is exactly what we do here every single week. All right, the last 2 are the best of the whole bunch. Number 2, the Ford F-150 and F-250, the old body style from 1987 through 1996, running the 3-100 cubic inch inline 6, 4.9 liters of pure cast iron stubbornness. Get your head around what this engine actually is. It is an industrial motor, the kind of thing that spins a generator or pumps water out of a field and never once gets thanked for it, and Ford had the sense to drop it into a pickup. The design goes clear back to 1965, and they spent 3 solid decades quietly perfecting it, one little bit at a time, until there was nothing left to fix. And here is the part that makes it special, the thing you just about never see in an engine anymore. The camshaft in this thing is turned by gears, not a rubber belt, not a chain. Steel gears, cut precise and meshed right together, spinning that cam in perfect lockstep with the crank. It has got 7 main bearings holding that crankshaft down too, where a lot of 6s only had 4. Most every engine out there has a belt or a chain you are told to swap on a schedule, the kind that snaps on a cold January morning and folds every valve in the head. This one does not even carry that part. Now, I am going to be honest with you the way I always am, because there is a catch buried even in here. On a lot of these, the factory made that cam gear out of a plastic fiber material to keep the gear wind down and make the cab a little quieter. And that plastic gear can strip its teeth somewhere around 150,000 miles. When it lets go, the cam quits turning and you are done. So that gear-driven setup is only truly bulletproof once somebody swaps the plastic gear out for a steel one, and I promise you that is a cheap, common fix any decent shop knows cold. Handle that one thing, and there is essentially nothing left in the valve train to ever wear out on you. The rest of it is every bit as honest as the motor. It makes all its muscle down low, right off idle, which is exactly what you are begging for when you have got a loaded trailer hanging off the back on a long grade. It is not fast. Nobody ever once pretended it was. But the engine bay is big enough to damn near climb inside. Every part is sitting right where your hand falls on it, and you will still be driving this truck long after the fancy stuff with the 8-speed transmissions has been dragged off flat to the crusher. And number 1, the Chevy and GM CCK, the GMT 400, built from 1988 through 1998, with the 350 small block V8, 5.7 liters of flat American certainty, and yes, this one is my home turf. I built GM trucks for a living for 34 years, and I am still telling you it earns the top spot square on its own merit. Here is why it is number 1, and it is not just about being tough. General Motors has built more than 100 million small block V8s since 1955. Now, that 100 million is the whole small block family, all the different sizes stacked together, but the 350 is the beating heart of it, and it means something real for you as the owner. There is no engine anywhere on this earth that has been written up in more shop manuals, torn down on more benches, and argued about at more parts counters than the small block Chevy. It is genuinely harder to turn up a mechanic who cannot work on one than to find a mechanic who can. And that right there is the whole point of this list. The number 1 truck is not simply the one with the strongest engine. It is the one you can keep on the road yourself, forever. Every parts counter in America has the part sitting on the shelf. Every regular down at the coffee shop has owned one. Every nephew with a socket set can turn the wrench on it. These boxy old trucks are still out working right this minute in every rural county in the country, hauling hay and dragging trailers and running fence lines, doing the same exact jobs they did back in 1993, because nobody ever once handed them a reason to quit. I will give you the honest catch, same as I did on all the rest. Rust will take the body long before that engine ever gives up, and the 4L60E automatic behind it will usually want a rebuild before the 350 even breaks a sweat. Figure a couple $1,000s for that, but it is one of the most rebuilt transmissions ever made, so any shop in any town can knock it out. The engine, though, the engine just keeps right on going. Buy a solid one, change the oil on time, keep good coolant in it, and it will still be running the day you hand the keys to your grandkid. So there they are. 5 trucks that carry nothing they do not need and haul whatever you throw in the bed for just as long as you look after them. So now I am turning it over to you, because you folks always know things I do not. Have you ever put one of these old motors clean past 300,000 miles? Is there a pickup parked in your family's driveway this very minute that your granddad drove off the lot brand new, and it is still firing up every cold morning and still earning its keep? Get down in the comments and tell me what you are driving, what is living under the hood, and what the odometer reads. I read every last one of them, and I have got a strong feeling there are a lot more of you out there than the car companies would ever care to admit. And if this list here saved you from overpaying for a truck full of trouble, I put together a book called The Right Ride. It is the buying traps, the maintenance shortcuts, and the exact trucks worth chasing and the ones to walk right on past. No hard sell from me. There is a link down in the description if you want to look. Either way, do me a favor, hit that like, hit subscribe, and I will have another one of these ready for you before long. Buy it once and drive it forever. This is Frank.